that we exist in this form and fashion in this current day, this society, where we feel like we do not have a say in our collective destiny. And really, that is part of our work, is to have a say in our collective destiny, to be able to speak. We are the demos, which is what it means to be a part of a democratic society, which means that every voice counts. Everybody's got a chance to have a say. You might not always win what you want, but you have a say and a right to have a say in the way that you want society to move. And voting is one of the ways, not the only way, but it is one of the main ways to which we have a chance to speak in society.
Right. And exactly to my point, right? All right. So our Facebook Live is coming back up. It's back up now.
Okay.
So we're the only show on WURD who has problems with their Facebook Live. We're the only show where it like routinely cuts off in the middle of a really hot take. I mean, when we're getting into it, our Facebook Live goes off. So I was just making the point that it's like voting. If it didn't mean anything, why would they try to take it? So if we weren't talking about something, why is it that someone keeps trying to cut us off? Huh?
I hear you. I mean,
sorry, man.
You know, personally, I think it's an attack of the government, but that's another story.
The man, DA, the man don't want us on this morning talking about what we're talking about and continues to, you know what the man doesn't want to hear people like Aunt Young and Raphael and Tawanda and Sheila and Shirley and Kim and Bernita who out here dropping knowledge. So the man keeps cutting you all off. Virginia, he doesn't want to hear you this morning because you all are too woke on this morning.
Aunt Young said it was the fly, the black fly, y'all. It was the black fly that did that.
Fly.
All right. It's all good.
Oh, God. Welcome back, folks. And hey, so, all right, a couple other things. All right. So, again, so much stuff this week. In Philadelphia, there have been hearings all week around the use of excessive force. So, again, going back to elections having consequences. So you put the right people in office, then those folk will fight for you, and especially if you stay on them, right? You got it, and that's you just mentioned it. It's not just voting, but it's also then lobbying. It's also pressuring. It's also pushing. And so, shout out to Helen Gim and others on the Public Safety Committee. We got some really sharp reformers on there. I'm gonna get in trouble calling out names, but you all know who you are, right? So Isaiah Thomas, Catherine Gilmore Richardson, Jamie Guntier, Kenyatta Johnson has been fierce on this. Derek Green has been showing up. Curtis Jones. The Public Safety Committee has been really on top of this, as well as they've been really dragging other council members in. And again, I know I'm forgetting someone, so forgive me. But the hearing that I participated in this week around telling my story about what happened on 52nd Street when I was tear gassed with others like Reverend Damon Jones, Reverend Abby Tennis, and Reverend Nick O'Rourke, as we were there as observers. They are now calling for an end to using tear gas, flash bang grenades, rubber bullets, and everything else in all peaceful protests in Philadelphia, period. Let me just say this. One of the most offensive things that happened this summer in the wake of all of the protests, you know, I must have hit about like 20 or 30 different marches. One of the most offensive was the day that we went to the MOVE house, the site of the MOVE bombing. And we're standing there, all the, you know, the crowd is organized, and so the speeches have started, and I'm standing literally next to the sign reading about how a helicopter dropped an incendiary device and burned a building up that killed adults and children, something that has completely traumatized the city for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
And as I'm reading this, guess what's hovering above our head very low?
A helicopter.
I mean, dude, it was like circling. I mean, mind, this is not like in a distance, but like so low that you cannot hear the speakers like buzzing us. And so, you know, I reached out and made a couple of like, you know, increases some folk, and I let them know, you might want to let folk at the top of the chain know the optics of this. This is, I mean, I can't even believe that I had to even like reach out to tell you this. Finally, the helicopter left, and I'm sure I'm not the only one who reached out. But my point is that 30 years after MOVE, the city still has not learned. And on that hearing that day, man, I thought what we went through was something, But I'm listening to nurses who lived in the neighborhood who went out to just like help people who were shot with rubber bullets.
Mm-hmm.
Other people who were just out, protesting, shot with rubber bullets. I mean, this is not, Trump and his people pushing protesters away at the White House. This is Philadelphia with a majority black council.
But wait a minute, but majority black council
and a black police chief
but that doesn't in some ways, I mean, the police force is 6,000 plus police officers here in the city of Philadelphia. If you were to go back through, the majority of those officers are white. And the leader that they follow is John McNesby, not Danielle Outlaw, right? But wait a minute, let me finish this thought. So on Spring Garden Street, there was when the folk went to take 676, and literally there were people on the ground already subdued, and a police officer was running around spraying them in their face with tear gas, right, and with pepper spray. They were already down. They were already subdued. And it's caught on video that he is walking from person to person that is laying on the ground, spraying them with spray pepper. Yep. I can't believe that Danielle Outlaw told him to do that. I cannot believe that anybody in the chain of command told him to go and do that. I believe that because he follows a different set of rules, he's out there supporting Donald Trump. And I mean, we have this problem in our public safety community. For those that don't know, Local 22, which is the firefighters union here in the city of Philadelphia, broke their own policies in previous administrations and endorsed Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. So, it's like in their national union endorsed Joe Biden, but they came back and endorsed Donald Trump. I mean, I think that there is a problem when you have folk that disrespect leadership and then go do whatever they want to do. I'll stop right there.
All right. Well, listen, we got to take a quick break. We're a minute over, and we can get into that when we come back, and a few other things before we end on today. This is the Power Hour with Bishop Dwayne David Royster and Mark Kelly Tyler. We'll be right back.
The pandemic is not only putting everyone's health at risk, it's also impacted our jobs and retirement security. And it's disproportionately affecting African Americans, especially those 50 plus. That's why AARP Pennsylvania is fighting for your voice to be heard. If you haven't voted yet, now is the time to learn about your voting options and cast your ballot. We're working to make sure you can vote safely, whether you choose to vote from home or in person. And if you choose to vote by mail, make sure you return your ballot using both envelopes. Your ballot goes in the smaller envelope for secrecy, and that goes into the larger envelope for mailing. Also, don't forget to sign the voter declaration on the back. Your voice matters. Make sure it's heard. Go to aarp.org/PA votes to learn about your voting options and how to vote safely this election. Visit aarp.org/PA votes today. Paid for by AARP.
At PICO, we know one thing is certain. Times have changed. From kitchen classrooms to couch conference calls, searching for a new job, or new ways to keep your family connected. These changes have become a part of our reality. That's why our teams are working 24/7 to meet the needs of our communities. So no matter how much things change, you can depend on PICO to be there with the energy and help you need to power through. Learn more at pico.com.
Reverend Tyler, with November 3rd around the corner, do you know how you'll be voting this year?
Dr. Callahan, I requested my mail-in ballot, and I'm returning it the day it comes in the mail.
That's perfect, because we can't leave anything to chance this year.
Already received your mail-in ballot? You're just a few simple steps away from turning your mailbox into a ballot box. Here's how. After selecting your candidates, place your marked ballot into the small secrecy envelope and seal it. It's a 2-envelope process, so then you'll place the small secrecy envelope into the larger one. Make sure to seal that one too. Sign and date it, and then it's as simple as dropping it in your mailbox, no postage necessary, or returning it to your county election office. And if you still want to sign up to vote by mail or find out where to drop off your mail-in ballot, visit votespa.com.
I'm not waiting until November 3rd. I'm returning my mail-in ballot the day it comes in the mail.
Or you can return your ballot to your county election office.
I've got my plan. Make your plan to vote today.
Paid for by Power Interfaith.
Now, a traffic update on WURD Radio.
Good morning. This report sponsored by Wendy. Still not too bad in Philadelphia this Friday morning. Southbound 95 building a bit through the work zone. Cotman down through Bridge. Northbound looks pretty good. Schuylkill Expressway westbound University through 30 at the Lays-Darrigan building through the construction area. Looking at the eastbound side, no issues. PA Turnpike, Blue Route 476, moving fine. 55 northbound Deptford in the 42, some volume there begins to pick up. 42 at South 295, no major issues yet. Wendy's has a breakfast worth talking about, like the breakfast Baconator snack with 6 pieces of bacon, or the Frosty Chino made with sweet frosty cream. Don't let your friends miss out. Tell somebody about Wendy's breakfast, available at participating U.S. Wendy's. For more traffic information, log on to sigalert.com. Jim Bachman with your Philadelphia area traffic.
You're listening to WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD, independent black media.
Welcome back to the Power Hour with Mark Kelly Tyler and Dwayne David Royster. We want to invite you to join us this Monday, October 12th, for a special day-long EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit. In recognition of Indigenous Peoples Day, we will explore topics at the intersection of Black and Indigenous rights, income, and the environment. This multimedia virtual event will feature Majora Carter, Radmilla Cody, Sorrel Barber, Maurice Sampson from the Source Reporting Collaborative, the Oro family, activists, artists, and other thought leaders. Also, don't miss this special opportunity to join or renew your WURD membership today to receive your free copy of this month's Black Words Book Club selection, A Terrible Thing to Waste, Environmental Racism and Its Assault on the American Mind by Harriet A. Washington. Join and renew today at wordradio.com/forward. The EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit, the EcoWord, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. The EcoWord Environmental Justice Summit is produced in collaboration with Bartram Gardens and from the Source Reporting Collaborative and is supported by PICO, the Watershed Education Alliance, the Lenfest Institute, and the William Penn Foundation. Be sure to tune in Monday starting at 10 a.m. To learn more, visit our website at wordradio.com or ecoword.com. All right, check us out Monday for this big environmental justice summit. You can check us out online and learn more about that. So come as we recognize Indigenous Peoples Day, and we begin to lift up a new way the experience of both Indigenous folk and Black folk in this nation. Hey, we got a caller on the line.
Oh, we dropped her.
Oh, you dropped her?
I mean, we didn't drop her. She dropped. So, but she wanted to tell us about her experience in turning in her mail-in ballot. I wanted to hear that. But
yeah, I hear that too. Yeah, Dee called back in. So would love to have heard about that experience.
And let me just say real quick, so that for folk who may have missed the top of the show, you can always go back and play this back at the end of the show. We were cut off, our Facebook feed got cut off, so you may want to look for part one. But yes, Arun, we've already talked about the vigilantes in Michigan. Of course, we started off with that this morning, and you can get our take there. But that also raises questions about places like Pennsylvania, which is very similar to Michigan, where you have, the large urban cities, and you have, a large rural community in the middle of the state, and oftentimes you're looking at two different worlds. And I will say that this, man, this also, really kind of like the gun debate. Mm-hmm. I think this puts a different kind of light on that too.
Right. Yes, it actually. So in Pennsylvania, the gun laws are very interesting, right? They're very tight. As a matter of fact, Philadelphia is now suing the state. I think we talked about this yesterday. Is now suing the state because the gun laws. We need to change the gun laws for the city of Philadelphia. And for years, Philadelphia had a much more restrictive process of being able to get gun permits than previous times. And then there was a federal case that came and basically said that Philadelphia has to do what the rest of the state does. And so it became a big problem. Now, there's the big debate going on in Pennsylvania about open carry. So there are no laws in Pennsylvania regarding open carry. Mm-hmm. And so to be able to carry concealed, you actually have to have a permit. There's a debate about whether you can actually open carry in the state because there's no laws about it whatsoever. And long rifles and shotguns are a totally different scenario. So in some places, you will see people with long rifles, shotguns, hunting. You get a license to hunt, but you don't necessarily need a license to carry the shotguns and things like that. So the gun laws in Pennsylvania need to be totally revamped. Unlike our neighbor in New Jersey or to the south, Maryland, which have extremely strict gun laws. In Maryland, as a matter of fact, you have to have a permit to have a gun in your house. You have to go through a 4-hour training session to be able to get a gun in your house.
Well, see, here's the problem. So, and I know I'm an outlier. Our caller's back, by the way. We're going to come to you in just a second. I know I'm an outlier in like progressive spaces because I guess I don't line up so easily on this issue. And I mean, and a part of it is because, look, I mean, I think we have to be honest about what's outside of the cities, right? And so in this moment right now, for example, you know, there's a lot of fear and angst about what will happen on November 4th, right? Would armed militias come into the city? Of course they won't. I mean, people, you know, now would they try to do something in Harrisburg? They might. They might.
I think they will come into the city.
Dwayne, you know how many people have been murdered in Philadelphia this year? For all they're talking out in the middle of the state about what they gonna do, you know who knows how to kill very effectively in this state?
Who's that?
Philadelphians. We proved it because we kill so many people every year. No, I mean, seriously, stop and think about that.
I hear you.
Philadelphians are not shooting targets. Well, I'm just saying, not targets are not falling in Philly. People are falling. And so you could talk a lot of bravado outside of the city, but when you come into the city, it's a different place. And so to think about disarming the city with its own laws and leaving the city to defend yourself against folk out here who are plotting to kidnap governors, what are they thinking about doing to us? I mean, I'm just saying, look, in a perfect world, I say yes, but we're not in a perfect world. And so while we restrict what happens in cities, and the only people who pretty much follow that would be us, then there's this arms buildup outside. And I just honestly think it makes people vulnerable. I mean, I wish it were different. And I know that I'm an outlier because, you know, look, I know a lot of my friends would never own a gun. I own multiple guns. Some I inherited, some I bought. And I say to people, you should own guns and you should carry them if you can, because the world we live in is not perfect. It's not ideal. And it's not, you know, what is that in seminary? We talked about the oughtness versus the isness.
Yes.
There's what it ought to be, and then there's what it is. And until it changes on the outside of the city, I'm a little bit kind of leery about saying to folk in the city to act differently, because I think that is the check and balance that prevents folk from rolling up in here trying to do whatever they want. But, you know.
Can we run to D?
Let's bring her on.
D, welcome to the Power Hour.
Hi, how you doing? It's Miss T.
Gotcha, Miss T. Oh, Miss T. I'm sorry. All right, gotcha.
Well, number one, I want to say to Reverend Tyler, a couple years ago I saw the Black Orchestra at your church. Loved it. Very nice. Number two, I went and dropped my ballot off Tuesday, and I feel sorry for anybody trying to come up in here trying to be a poll watcher, because they're going to get their behinds kicked. That place was so busy, people running in and out and dropping off their ballot, that I was so proud. These people are serious about voting. And anybody that wants to drop ballots off for someone else, you have to be signed up to do that. So in other words, everybody dropping a ballot off, like in one family, each family member has to go and drop their own ballot off.
Yeah.
And also, they have, I don't know if it's a cop or guard or whatever, but that brother was carrying his Glock, and he was in full uniform. He was taking the ballots. So I feel sorry for anybody that think they're going to come up in here trying to check somebody's voting and all. And just like Reverend Tyler was saying, that ain't happening here. That's not happening here in Philly. So
Thank you, Ms. T.
I'm in the Overbrook section, and that's where that was going on. I just had to let you guys know.
Appreciate that. You too.
Thanks, Ms. T. George is on.
Yeah.
But before we bring George up, I want to go back again historically. You never seen black people going in smashing ballot boxes. You can't find a historic example of that. But in Philadelphia, in Camden, New Jersey in the 1870s, and one of those led to the killing of Octavius Catto in Philly. Another guy, Theophilus Little in Camden, got killed the year before Catto, where, you know, white vigilantes, and some of them were off-duty Philly police officers, smashed ballot boxes. and and beat up and kill people. I'm just saying, those men were unarmed. I'm like, look, I mean, I'm just saying, George, I hate to even bring him on because I know he wants to talk about gun laws, and so I got a feeling that on today I'm gonna end up agreeing with George. I'm so scared. George, what's up?
Fine. How you doing, Rev? Both of you. Listen,
Good.
it's like real, like a dog and pony show talking about these gun laws in Philadelphia, because it's not the people who legally have guns. You only inconveniencing them. I mean, I ain't into them guns and all that there. If you got to, like, handle your business, you handle your business. But this foolishness, the way these guns go, all these guns that they get are illegal guns. They're not stolen. They have more. It's like, and it's true. And the police department even came to council and said, for every poppy store, there's 2 gun houses somewhere within that area. You can get a gun quicker than you can get a sandwich at a restaurant. That's how easy it is. So they need to stop talking about, well, we're going to make laws. It's crazy. It's a waste of time in the state. It's a state issue. The city only do it for photo op and social media. It sounds good. That's all it is.
All right. All right, George.
What they need to do is just go after these people who have the guns and get them off the streets. Yeah. They can do it. They just won't do it. Period.
Thank you. Thank you, George. We're at the end of the show. Appreciate you, bro.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody, for joining us today. We always appreciate Coesa for holding it down on the boards for us and handling the phones. For all those that called in today, Misty and George, we appreciate you. For those that were commenting on Facebook Live, and just to say that part of the reason Facebook went down was an issue with YouTube because of the way these are connected in the station. But we got it back up, and we appreciate you. Listen, there's a lot going on in the world. Keep in tune. Check us out. And also, go out and change the damn world, because if you don't, nobody else will. God bless you. Peace.
Deuces.
A bullet in my gun. Oh, I got eyes in the back of my head, just in case I have to run. I do what I can when I can, while I can for my people. While the clouds roll back and the stars fill the night, that's when I'm gonna stand up, take my people with me. Together we are going to a brand new home, far across the river.
Reverend Tyler, with November